For global leaders, understanding India has always been a strategic imperative. But what if I told you the playbook most companies are using is dangerously out of date? Today, we're going to explore the new reality of what we call the India Capability Advantage. So let me ask you directly, is your India strategy 20 years out of date? Seriously, think about it. If your board still thinks of India primarily as a back office for cost savings, well, the answer is almost certainly yes, and that's a problem. Okay, here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with that old playbook. Then we'll map the massive capability shift that has completely redefined India's role. We'll look at what true ownership means today, unpack the new value equation, and finally, show you why this is your next critical global advantage. So first up, let's just take a quick look back at the model that for decades defined India's role in global business. For years, the strategy was really simple, right? Outsource high-volume, transactional work to India to take advantage of cost arbitrage. It was all about efficiency, about reducing operational overhead. And look, it was a powerful model for its time. But that time has passed. It is now fundamentally obsolete. And that brings us to the main event, the Great Capability Shift. This is all about the rise of what are now known as Global Capability Centers, or GCCs. This is the real story of why global enterprises have had to completely reimagine India's role in their future. You see, this wasn't just one thing. It was a perfect storm of three powerful forces. First, technology, like the cloud and AI, matured to the point where global distributed R&D became seamless. Second, the talent pool evolved in a big way. India's STEM graduates became a specialist pool of world-class engineers. I mean, just think about how top tech firms now run their entire AI development mandates right out of their Bangalore campuses. And third, a huge shift in strategic thinking. As corporations realized diversifying capability wasn't just nice to have, it was key to de-risking operations and speeding up innovation. And this slide just illustrates that transformation perfectly. The focus has completely shifted from cost to value creation, from simple transactional tasks to real strategic leadership. India has gone from being just an execution partner to a genuine capability powerhouse for the world's leading companies. So what does this shift from execution to ownership actually look like on the ground? I mean, what does it really mean to be a capability powerhouse? Well, it's a three-step evolution. First, you move from just delivering a task to actually designing, where teams in India own entire product modules and innovation pipelines. Second, you go from service to strategy, where data analytics and market insights from Indian centers are directly informing board-level decisions globally. And then the final step, you go from support to actual IP creation. We're talking filing global patents and publishing research that drives the entire enterprise forward. Okay, let's talk about how this all builds a completely new value equation, one that's driven by economics, proactive policy, and just massive opportunity. And to put this into perspective, just look at this number. According to NASSCOM and Zinev, India's global capability center market is projected to cross $100 billion by 2030. This is not a niche trend. It's becoming a core pillar of the global economy. Now, what's really interesting here is that the value is multidimensional. Yes, there is still incredible TCO, that's total cost of ownership, efficiency, especially in emerging Tier 2 cities where you can see up to a 40% reduction. But the real story, the big story, is in those other two bars, long-term competitive advantage from innovation ROI and dramatically faster speed to market. And this growth is being actively fueled by policy. We're seeing these forward-thinking states actually competing with each other to attract these high-value centers. Gujarat, for example, is building out massive innovation hubs like Gift City. Meanwhile, you've got Madhya Pradesh offering direct support for capital expenses and even incentives for patent filing, all to encourage local R&D. Of course, navigating this isn't without its challenges. There are risks, policy variations between states, intense competition for talent, making sure your IP is protected. But for every risk, smart mitigation strategies are emerging. For talent, it's not just about hiring anymore, it's about co-creating skills by building deep partnerships with local universities to create a sustainable pipeline for the future. The path forward is becoming clearer every single day. So this brings us to the crucial point. We're no longer talking about a tactical outsourcing decision. We are talking about a strategic imperative that will define your next global advantage. And just so we're all crystal clear on this central concept, let's lock in the definition. A global capability center. A GCC is an in-house, fully owned strategic hub. This is fundamentally different from a third-party vendor. This is about building your company's own capability on a global scale. Because the conclusion really is undeniable. In today's incredibly complex global landscape, leveraging this new India, well, it isn't optional anymore. It is your next global advantage. So this all leads to the one essential question for any CXO or board member watching right now. How do you navigate this new frontier? How do you translate India's immense opportunity into clear business insight so you can actually act with confidence? Well, answering that question is the driving mission behind our new podcast, India Inside the GCC Advantage. It's a strategic conversation from the CoreBridge GCC desk, designed specifically for decision-makers like you who are exploring India as their next global capability destination. Each episode helps you decode how India's ecosystem really works, from policies and talent to what your peers are doing to stay ahead. In every single conversation, we translate complexity into clarity so you can move from just observing to taking action. So I'd like to invite you to join us. Subscribe to India Inside the GCC Advantage now on Spotify, Amazon Music, or YouTube. Because as we've seen today, this is so much more than just a market shift. It truly is a new frontier. And India Inside the GCC Advantage is where global business meets that frontier.